The next person I'm going to speak to is one of my heroes, and Martin Atkins has been on two versions of my podcast previously. First time was on CMO Asia podcast. After that, I think was the second virtual events for Podfest Asia, and now on our brand new NFT Live Festival, which is an NFT Live theme event. So it's so great to always have him back and to talk to us and our audience in Asia. And without further ado, let me bring on to our virtual podcasting studio, Martin Atkins. How are you, my friend?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm a little bit over the moon because Liverpool just beat Man United 4-2. So
I was recording the game.
You were recording the game. Oops.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Sorry to be a spoiler.
No. I just really enjoy watching the games these days. So it's good. It's good.
Yeah, and I know football is in your blood. Football is in my blood as well. If I'm not wrong, you're a supporter of Hull City, right?
No, Leeds United. Well,
Leeds United.
My dad took me to see Leeds at Ellen Road when I was 7. We used to live close to there, so it's difficult to move on to another team, you know. And honestly, I like to watch any good game. I just enjoy watching it.
Yeah, the beautiful game. Fortunately, it wasn't destroyed by that silly idea, right? Of that, I don't know, what is it called? Europa League or something?
Super League. Yeah, it's good to see that the fans have a voice and individuals can make a difference. It's good to see that in any situation. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny how things have changed, right, over the years. And I'm sure you have a very big opinion about this as well. Like in the past, you know, in order for someone to be able to think for themselves, or maybe, you know, being able to actually influence decisions, right? And instead of having handed me down instructions and just follow the system, it seems that this new generation is all about bucking the system. And you don't really need to actually have the psychedelic drugs in order to actually think, you know, the way that human beings should be thinking, which is about for the greater good, for a good cause, right? And now we see fans rebelling, I think, because they want to have a say. They have enough of all this, you know, owners who are not even, you know, from the English, soil. Foreign owners actually take control and making decisions on behalf of the club. Yeah. So what's your take on that league? Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because, you know, football, music, any cultural endeavor is very attractive to investors because you're able to, let's say Sunderland Football Club, you can lose again. And people have been following that team for 60 years, their whole life. Their grandfather went to see the team. You know, it's not like people in Sunderland will just go to another city to follow another team. But with that loyalty and with that built-in fan base comes I thought I disappeared for a second there. The fans are starting to realize that they have a voice in this. And they're not just there to buy the new shirt every season. You know, when I was a kid, the team had the same shirt for 10 years. This was Leeds had a white strip. Sunderland had red stripes. But they changed the strips every year, so the fans have to buy a new, very expensive shirt. I get it. I'm a businessman. We're all entrepreneurs. But you have the benefit of a lifetime of loyalty from somebody. You can't take advantage of that. It's advantageous, but you can't take advantage of it. And music is the same. You know, I've been doing this for a long time, and people are fans of a band kind of for a lifetime. Unless the band does something really terrible, like suddenly discovers country music or has offensive political beliefs And even then, sometimes, but this is a long journey that we're on, and it's a blessing that we get this support from our fans.
Do you think that technology has a big role, that is playing right now, right? We are talking about like not just social media, not just like even places where we can interact like this face to face, even though we are like so many miles apart. And even like new channels like Discord servers where people are communicating, sharing resources, knowledge, or even like forming organizations and communities together and working together hand in hand, supporting each other, thinking that they don't really need a middleman or even like the big, I don't know, organization or brand that is controlling, their destiny. It's like the control is now back in the hands of the fans. It's not in the hands of people who have that technology on their hands, right? And you're able to even organize, I don't know, a movement within 24 hours and have fans show up at Old Trafford and postpone a game against Liverpool.
Right. I mean, it's punk rock. It's absolutely punk rock. 1977, we don't need the big labels. We don't need the big label to tell us we're worthy of putting a record out, And then, of course, all the punk bands signed to the major labels. The Sex Pistols signed to EMI, and everything got turned upside down. But we're now, I think, the realization of all of that we can do what we want, questioning what is success for ourselves individually. And I happen to love two things: the technology, but also handcrafting. I'm getting into when I type a letter to somebody now. I'm sitting here with a 1950s typewriter next to me, and rubber stamps. I'm rubber stamping, and I like it when the rubber stamp gets smudged because a human being, me, I smudge this, and that's in red ink, and my signature's in blue ink. And sometimes when I'm typing, I will really smash the keyboards. So somebody might like take one of these letters and go, hold on a minute, it's a Xerox, it's a color Xerox, and so I'll really smash the key so that it indents the paper, and or I'll move the paper so that the font isn't in a straight line. These are all messages to people to say a human being was on the other end of this, and then that forms a connection. Spotify, great way to discover music, but nobody is. I don't think anybody's making money from Spotify, and I like this handmade, one at a time. I understand mass production and all the rest of it, but this handmade, one at a time objects, I think, are resonating with people. So the two things at the same time: communicating with people like this, but then sending objects to people in the mail that are made by humans. I like the combination of the two things.
I think that human touch that you're emphasizing, right, is what's lacking, in terms of all these big tech firms, right, in how they even reward the creators or the musicians who are basically the ones who are helping them to actually bring in all the cash, right? And
Right.
without the creators, Spotify is nothing. Without content and great music, nobody would actually find this little shell of a company valuable in the first place. And what that begs the question, and I wanted to ask you your perspective and thoughts on this. How do artists and musicians reclaim their artistry from these big tech firms?
Well, I think I'm doing this now. There are releases I don't put on Spotify. If you want the 2019 Pigface double album signed by everybody, hand screened, signed and numbered in different colors. The only way to get that is from me. So if I'm not giving it to Spotify because I don't care, because they don't care, to them, the creators are inconvenient, and so I don't need to sell 10,000 albums to make me feel good. I need to sell 300 to make $30,000. I can make the next one. I can have a good time doing these limited edition things in my own way, that every single piece of this release resonates with who I am. It isn't just my music being mass produced by somebody else. Everything about this reinforces what I'm doing.
And this is one way to seize back control, right? And the musicians are in the same tribe as the artists. And also even podcasters like me in the podcasting world, we are always not thinking about to become the next big Joe Rogan, with millions of fans and having, that luxury of brokering an $80 million deal with Spotify. That's not how it works in real life. How it works is that one connection at a time, and having your 1,000 fans, that's good enough to make a decent, or if not even better living. And without having a middleman, in between to take a big cut, and you're left with just breadcrumbs. I think technology has also, created good things. We also have to maybe, give kudos when it's due. And it's quite, something that, has been ongoing for a while now, but has really come to the fore. All you need is one big, maybe massive mega fan, or in the NFT artist art world, right? They call them the whale. Someone, just came along and bought a piece of JPEG of a digital visual artist and willing to spend $69 million for it. And that comes from just one fan. You don't need millions of fans to have that.
So I love technology. In fact, I just had my students at Millikin University. We did a lathe cut, clear vinyl 7-inch single. And so they're individually lathe cut. This is technology from the 1940s. And then the students, the artist, laid out 20 7-inch single sleeves and did one big painting, acrylic painting on all of it. It looks fantastic. And then pulled them apart. And so now we have these 20 objects. And to me, we ran out of time this semester, but what I see happening with NFTs is, so NFTs are like F the physical world. It's all digital, right? But what I see happening with NFTs now is when you buy this digital object, click here and you get the physical object with it. So it's just like if you buy my live album, it comes with a download card. Here's the digital, or you could just say, screw all of that. It's metadata. It's non-fungible technology in this thing. And then you click a box and you get the physical 1940s see-through vinyl in the mail. Everything is the same. Everything is a cycle. What comes around goes around. When you see this all the time in media, it's fantastic.
It's beautiful, isn't it? This NFT technology, it's helping us to reconnect to our roots, reconnect to what is truly valuable, which is that physical thing, which what you have just mentioned, all these limited edition vinyl copies that are to die for. And I'm just, retelling this little example, like that ticket stub for a Madison Square Garden concert of Led Zeppelin playing there in 1974. That's fetching like 5-6 figures on eBay. Just a ticket stub, because people want to hold on to it or even frame it. And a collector who loves Led Zeppelin, who's unable to be there at a concert, but would like to own that piece of collectible, now he's able to actually bid for it on eBay. But if someone is actually able to digitize it, make it a digital collectible, at the same time, when they own this NFT, it unlocks, and also a physical version of that or a true original will be sent to them. That is really coming full circle, like what you just mentioned.
Right.
And I'm excited even talking about it. Yeah.
So imagine, I'm opening a museum here in Chicago, which is the opposite of technology, right? Looking backwards and honoring all of this material. So, I look through my 35 millimeter color slides of Johnny Rotten. Sometimes me and Johnny Rotten, I like those, but I understand that some people will freak out over photographs that haven't been seen, that were taken in 1980, 81, 82, 83, when we were in Japan for the first time. And so I want to surround people with these objects here in Chicago, but there will also be an online component, an NFT component, because it's not that Led Zeppelin ticket. It's not about that object. It's about everything that surrounds that object. Just can you go back to see this piece here? One of the things that I love is, so the Led Zeppelin ticket is the Led Zeppelin ticket. This piece, it's called the Hubcap Marimba. I booked the first tour in North America for pioneers of industrial music called Test Department. They did some electronic music later, but originally they would just bang on things. They went from the airport straight to the scrapyard and got these hubcaps, and then took the metal bar forming the frame is the cage from the Ministry tour in 1990 called the Cage Tour. So this piece, to speak in museum terms, is the connection between Test Department and Ministry, and actually the little bell in the middle, hanging in the middle. I was looking at that, and I think that was used by F.M. Einheit from a German industrial band called Einstürzende Neubauten. So this piece is in my office at the moment. It's going to be in the museum for people to sit and have a cup of coffee underneath it and just sit and look at and feel the vibrations of everything that's connected inside this piece. It's a really nice piece of art, but the history behind it, those connections are amazing.
As a drummer, when I see something like that, I feel like, it would be a waste if I don't bang on it if I own it.
Yeah. Well, they also took a set of metal shelves. They're in my garage at the moment, and they would bang on these shelves with hammer handles, like a hammer, but without the metal bit on the end. And you could see underneath, just like a steel drum, underneath every hit has impacted and dented. You can feel the energy level, even though these pieces were hit 30 years ago. That energy is still there.
It's a collection of memories, yeah? It's not just that physical collectible. And to be able to own it, if it's actually available in a medium as a NFT, makes it so easy for those who are already seeing so much growth in value of the Ethereum coins, for example, or crypto they are in possession of, which have seen 100x, 500x, rise in value over the years for these collectors. They're sitting on all this crypto, and where do they spend it? You can't actually, go out somewhere in a retail shop and buy 10 pieces of record using Ethereum. You can't, but you can actually spend it on an NFT collectible, on a digital collectible that actually unlocks or actually makes these physical artifacts available to the owner. So it's a really great way to actually put, in circulation all these artifacts back into the marketplace. And it allows a frictionless and convenient way for everyone to own a piece of history. I could imagine, I'm a huge fan of Test Department, Ministry, Pigface, Nine Inch Nails, all the bands that we're in. And then because it's you who's telling that story, and the narrative is so strong, the history is so strong, that collection of memories as well. I would willingly, spend number of ETHs just to own this piece. And this is a great way to also show off on my public wallet. I'm the owner. I'm the proof of ownership of this piece of artifact. And it's something that maybe future generations, right, when they check out my profile on LinkedIn, for example, and LinkedIn enables this, browsing of your public wallet, and they see that I own a piece of this collectible, someone who is, incredibly new, who doesn't know me, but they saw that in my public wallet, I own a piece of Pigface or Ministry or KMFDM or Einstein New Button. Feels that we are connected, even though we are disconnected at this moment.
Yeah. So, but here's what's interesting to me. Of course I understand frictionless, right? But for me, I want to create these frictionless activities to then have somebody like yourself explore the museum, maybe buy a piece, whatever, but then travel to Chicago to sit in a room. And here's the piece from a Pigface tour made by Tim Gore, who now does Living Dead. He does all of the latex work on Living Dead. But in 1992, he was working with us. And so here's this huge piece, right? And sit and have a cup of coffee with this. Look at all of these pieces. James Murphy from LCD Sound System, when he was 16 years old, was helping to screen print posters with me in my workshop. And I found one of those posters yesterday, 1986. And he was freaked. We were talking. I'm like, "Is this the poster?" He was freaking out. So we create this frictionless activity to then create the opposite of frictionless, which is for somebody to sit on a plane, travel to Chicago, and sit in a room and listen to unreleased Nine Inch Nails demos, Killing Joke songs that have never been heard, Public Image Limited, live in Tokyo, both nights, not just the one night that was released. Public Image Limited, both nights in Paris. I have so much material, audio, visual, physical. My drum kit was used for Killing Joke, Ministry, in case you didn't feel like showing up. They had like a whole video. Pigface, Danny Carey from Tool played my kit. You want to sit behind my drum kit? Go ahead, So I'm looking forward to exploring the connection between all of these pieces, and have people add their stories to these other stories.
And this could all be displayed in a ledger form, right? And that's where NFTs come in so handy. Yeah. It seems to be a technology that allows all these pieces of historical moments, who played on it, which show did it appear in, and make that connection, because it's all in ledger form, and we can actually read and discover it, and find that, the value is in the metadata, and the metadata shows all these historical facts that can't be erased, it can't be fucked with.
Right. So that's my next thing, is a $2,000 scanner, right? And then so people can come to the museum and just go around in 2 hours, buy some coffee, get the T-shirt and a book, and leave. Or they can just sit and go so deep with Test Department. Sheep on Drugs were on the same bill. Is there a set list from that night? Is there a recording from that night? Do we have the receipts for gas for the bus for that night? Do we have immigration paperwork for people, passports, birthdays? Were people signing for their per diems, the money they get every day? Like, there's so much stuff that some people will go wide. Some people will stay there for 3 days, or online and go deep, deep, deep. Maybe back to the day they met their partner, back to the night they conceived a child. I've had that happen, and find the recording, hear themselves screaming on the recording of that night. Just crazy stuff. Crazy stuff.
It harks back to the days of the Grateful Dead, right? When I was just watching a documentary on Amazon Prime. I think it's called Long Strange Trip. And
really? I'm going to watch that.
Exactly. That's a really good documentary where the fans were allowed to actually do demo, or should I say, they were allowed to actually sneak in their recorders and tape every show. So bootleggers will bring all their fanciful equipment. Even during those days, they bring huge boom mics into the stadium venue, and and just record. And then what transpired was huge troves of bootlegs that are traded between fans.
Right.
And because the band allowed it, this is how word of mouth goes through, that you have to be at a Grateful Dead show because they play a different set list every night. So
Right.
if you own a tape, that tape becomes so precious because it's archived. At the same time, you can sell it for money. The money, you can then buy more tickets to attend more Grateful Dead shows.
Yeah.
It's genius marketing.
And I have a book. I use a book, The Marketing Tricks of the Grateful Dead, right? And it's that thing that you can't do in regular business. You just let people. Radiohead did it as well. Pay what you want, right? Burger King can't do this because people would just go and grab some burgers and leave. But in the creative industries, we can add this element of trust and respect and just say to people, pay whatever you want, you know? And so we're saying to people with this museum, it's $125 to buy the founder's shirt. And then I had to do a special letter because people said, I'm never going to wear the shirt. I want to keep the shirt as a souvenir of my support. Could you do a note that we could use instead of wearing the shirt? I'm like, oh my goodness. So I do this special hand-typed note with rubber stamps. And then somebody saw a picture of that and they said, well, we can't use that. We're going to frame it. Could you do something else? So I had to make a special pass for people to use. And that has to have their name and the number, and it's signed by me, so they can use the pass to get in. It's crazy, but whatever it takes to create this experience for people, you know. It's a new and interesting journey for me, and people are calling and offering to donate. Somebody said, I used to film Nine Inch Nails back in the day. Some of my footage has been donated to the archives at the University of Southern California. Everything else is yours. People are just so happy that this place is going to exist. They're just sending me stuff. And I didn't think about that. I mean, because I have a lot of things. But for people to make this their own and send me their stuff to put in this 6,000 square foot building, it's very exciting.
I think you are the biggest collector in the industrial world in terms of all these artifacts and all this collection of memories, I call it. And it's going to be a very fascinating trip, you know, if we are able to make our way there when this pandemic is truly over, right? All of us will be going there, especially fans of all the bands that you were in, right? And fans of the genre as well. This is the must-go place. And definitely, you know, if you want to actually print tickets for this museum tour, we'll be actually exploring NFT, you know, as a way to actually allow this to even become a digital collectible. Because like we were talking about Led Zeppelin's ticket stub, right? Going for such crazy price. And that thing could be easily, you know, destroyed. Could be, no longer in good condition. Or it could be even like I have a bunch of vinyls that recently got watered down. It got wet. And I lost a bunch of vinyls. Yeah, it's so easily to lose those. Yeah. And ticket stubs are so easily lost as well. Are you going to issue NFT tickets instead, so that it's all forever in their public wallet, that is a proof that they have visited the Museum of Industrial and Punk Rock?
Right. Well, I mean, yes. And so, I mean, I can talk about all this stuff on my rubber stamps and stuff, but it wouldn't be post-punk if it just stayed between 1979 and 1980. So, right, it's the music keeps moving forwards, and I think as we reach back to 1940s technology for these lathe cuts of music to create these interesting art objects, we've got to be doing NFTs. There has to be an experience on a website, and there has to be NFTs available for somebody who can't travel to Chicago to still be involved in fueling this and making it their own as well. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And to feel it, if they can't travel there physically, one way to feel it is to have access to you. I think that the fact that if they could actually, purchase a collectible, buy an NFT, and maybe, out of 100 NFTs that you're going to mint, 5 will be reserved, maybe at a more, should I say, a higher price. But it comes with 1 hour session with you where they get to actually hear more stories about your museum, how it came about and how you got involved, how you actually amass all this collection. And those are priceless. And definitely it's going to be an experience that, a piece of ticket won't be able to contain, right?
Right. And so, but it's also, I also want to mention, all of this stuff comes with some responsibility. So, of course, it's a big undertaking, but I don't want anybody to think $125 for a founder's shirt, this is beyond me. Once again, big business, ... There will also be free events, because there are people who were involved in this movement in the late 70s, in the 80s, in the 90s, who were crazy back then, who aren't doing too well right now. And so we'll have events to honor the founders, of course, that's correct. But we'll also have events that are free for people who don't have the means to help make something like this happen. And I wouldn't want it any other way. And I don't think the founders would want it any other way either.
I think Gary Vee has provided a blueprint on how to do NFT the right way. He's actually donating from his royalties. For example, if someone is in possession of thousands of NFTs he has recently minted and successfully sold within hours, right? Anyone who resold one of those tokens for maybe 10x or 30x, in the future, because we'll know that Gary Vee is going to be one of those great, figures that will be spoken about for decades to come.
Yeah.
That value, when it's resold, right, for a profit, 10% of the royalties goes back to the creator, which is Gary Vaynerchuk. Yeah. And he has actually, because of the algorithmic, the programmability, ability of smart contracts in NFTs, it allows him to apportion a percentage of that to the charitable causes that he supports. For example, for all these decentralized autonomous organizations who are working, on creating more innovation to actually create more sustainable energy resources or recyclable energy, innovations. And he's actually apportioning this for charitable causes. So something like this, for if you're selling NFT tickets for your museum, right? Some of the royalties, you could actually apportion to those people who collaborate with you, who are part of this, artifact that's on display in a museum. At the same time, whenever the ticket is either being resold for profit, for example, in the secondary market, the royalties always goes back to the wallet of the contributors. And it's a very good way to, should I say, avoid very messy legal entanglements, especially when collaboration always have this sort of sticky issues, right?
Yeah. Disintermediation. That's the word. Disintermediation. And it works in business. It works. It doesn't work for every artist, but I love it. I want to talk to my fans. I mean, occasionally I'm talking to some crazy drunk fan in Scotland, screaming at me, but they're just showing love, and maybe the time zones, we just mistimed our energy. But this is a great time to connect with people. This is what it's all about. I love Gary Vee. I absolutely love that guy.
And he's done it in a way where it's very thoughtful. It doesn't look like he's cashing in. He's more about, helping other people around him grow together with him. So there's this shared capitalism idea behind it as well, which I'm not sure whether it's about the same ethos that expressed in the punk or industrial community. But of course, someone like Kurt Cobain, right, who's all about anti-establishment or bucking the system. I think he will be very happy if he's still alive today, because he will be the first to buy all this NFT art that are released by all the NFT artists. because he's a collector as well. And he
Yeah.
would love to see the profits not go through some middleman or go to some big brand or label, but goes directly to the creator, which is the artist like you. Yeah.
And I think that someone like Banksy I'm interested to see what he does, because all of Banksy's work has been stolen and taken by galleries and appropriated and resold. And because he's outside of the system a little bit, maybe there's a way for him to start. I'm sure he's fine in terms of money, but starting to redistribute. It will be interesting to see how he experiments in this.
Yeah, that's something that we're all waiting to see. Perhaps Banksy will provide the next blueprint as well for us all to learn from. Yeah.
Absolutely.
One more question before we let you go, because I've been also, texting Justin K. Broderick from Godflesh. So asking him about his perspective about NFTs as well, because I love to hear perspectives from all great musicians like you and him. Yeah. And he says that, he has toyed with the idea of doing art pieces on OpenSea, on Foundation, and so many other marketplaces, right? He's actually, been dabbling in cryptocurrency for years, because he used that to actually get THC goods in the UK. So he's definitely involved in cryptocurrency in some way or another. It's just that, his involvement, let's say, for example, he's going to list some projects on OpenSea or Foundation, for example, and his involvement with NFTs, right, would probably invite a lot of negativity, which is a little disconcerting. It's do you think that, something like that would also be a concern for you and your fans as well?
Well, do you mean in with the idea that maybe somehow we're speculating in global currency? There's that aspect of it, but I mean, I think
the
that there are
collectibles aspect of it. Like the digital collectibles is to enable people who are in possession with cryptocurrency, right, to actually get their hands on these digital collectibles and have that proof that they own this piece, which is one of its kind. So will there be similar sort of negativity from your fan base?
Well, I don't know, and I don't think I would care if there was. I mean, if I set up a merch booth at my Chicago show, right, there'll be some cool wristbands, and there'll be some stickers, and there'll be T-shirts, and then there'll be like $100 T-shirt that maybe has my blood all over it from the night before, or something that we'll auction for a charitable cause, and there'll be maybe there's some leather jacket, right? There are different things. There are different items that speak to different people. And of course, the person who wants the sticker will just look at that leather jacket. That's bullshit, and maybe the person who buys the leather jacket would expect the stickers and some buttons for free. It's just, you need to recognize that you have a broad range of fans, and you also need the ability to provide something at the level they're at, right? So if somebody, you called him a whale, if a whale comes to my show, I better have something more than T-shirts and a sticker, right? I need the $500 thing, and it's great for me to get the money from the $500 thing, but I'm providing the whale with the opportunity to spend the amount of money that they feel is appropriate to make them feel good about supporting the thing. So it's a two-way street, even if it isn't, and it's never about the money. It's about giving people the thing that makes them happy to connect to you. Now, if you do that correctly, you'll get money. But it's about the connection more than it is, because it's like some people like to go to one market, some people like to do Amazon online. People like to do different. Some people like to wander around the grocery store. Some people like to hit 3 buttons and order the same thing. You need to go to where people are and let them interact with you in the way that they're excited about interacting.
It's like a $500 drum, drum head or of the bass drum of Danny Carey's autograph version, right? Which you
Yeah.
can buy at a Tool concert that costs $500, compared to a T-shirt that costs $50. It's catering for the fans. These are for the fans, and the money is just a byproduct of that.
Yeah.
This reconnects me back to the first time when you came on my podcast. I think 2 years ago, you mentioned about the importance of a T-shirt, right? Like I'm wearing a T-shirt of this Canadian industrial band called Odonis. He was on this festival earlier on before you, and we were talking about Martin Atkins, his experience of meeting you finally for the first time at South by Southwest in 2019.
Okay.
And we were talking about T-shirts. And then I recall when you were just saying this just now that a T-shirt is actually the gateway, the bridge to a connection between the fan and the band. That's how we actually remember that we are part of something special. We are part of that tribe. We are part of a community that love the same sort of music that we love, which is industrial music.
Yeah, and when you wash that T-shirt, hopefully you'll wash it, and then you fold it. These are interactions with the band. You're remembering the show. You're thinking about the band. This is how you create these connections. It's kind of simple if you just stop thinking that one good song is all you need.
Before we let you go, Martin, it's always very, very fun, and I always learn tons when I have a conversation with you on my podcast. Shall we maybe do a very short rapid fire segment? Okay. So the rules are very simple. You give very short and pithy response, one sentence or two maximum. So let's go. What are your proudest live moments?
American Bandstand with Pill.
What do you want doing less of in 2021?
What do I want to do? What of?
Do less of.
Less Zooms, more hugging.
The next question is, what do you want to do more of in 2021? So it's the same answer, more hugging?
More hugging, but also more reading, which is kind of hugging me. There's 20 books I want to read. I'm like, my days are so crazy at the moment. I at the end of the day, I need to read at the beginning of the day. I pick up a book and I just fall asleep in the book,
And I'm fascinated by the number of books at the back, in the background on your bookshelf. How I wish I could actually dip my hands into the shelf and take a peek of what you're reading right now. Your advice for artists out there?
Let go of the pursuit of perfectionism. Release something today. Release something tomorrow. Make your own T-shirts. F them up. Nobody cares. People want to support you. No one's going to complain. People want to support you. Just do it.
You're supposed to do it within 2 sentences, but because it's so good, I'll let it go. Okay. Any future ambitions or side projects?
I'm opening a museum. It's the craziest thing I've done. It makes the most sense out of anything I've done.
How can people reach you?
Follow me on Twitter at Marteen, Marteeen. I am Flowers Fight for Sunshine on Instagram. I don't even know what I am on Facebook.
Fantastic. I'll just maybe put one of your URLs on screen. So I think that's is that one of your store or e-commerce or website where we can find out more about your Museum of Industrial Music, right?
Yeah, and you could go to martinatkins.com. There's free downloads of my books up there too.
Fantastic. Any last words, message for our listeners who are replaying this on a podcast replay on their AirPods or smart speakers later on?
Be nice to people. Be nicer than you think you should be to people that you think you shouldn't be nice to.
Martin, you're an inspiration. You are singularly responsible for everything that I'm doing right now. So I really want to thank you. I'm super grateful. I really hope to finally do an in-person live taping of podcast with you in person. So hopefully we will do it when I actually get to fly there and attend and actually visit your museum. Yeah?
Sounds good to me.
Thank you so much. Really grateful.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Cheers,
Bye.
Martin.
perspective, seeing things that you can't normally see, through 2D videos or paper documentation. How can you see that better through holograms and virtual reality? And then I went to go work for, I was at a company called PTC, who's most known for, at least in the AR/VR space, known for their augmented reality platform called Euphoria, which is one of the most widely used augmented reality SDKs on the market. So 50% or so AR apps that are on the market are actually being used by Euphoria. So I actually got to travel the world.
Interview with Leisures K, positive change maker, AR and VR. So that's his area of expertise, and a little bit of a short introduction before I bring him on to our virtual podcasting stage. He's an VR AR influencer and also a consultant and content strategist, and based around in China and Southeast Asia. His mission is to educate the masses about the practical uses of AR, VR, while assisting businesses and professionals about the benefits of new technologies. He's presently an official partner with 40 of the world's most renowned AR, VR studio development agencies and a channel ambassador for HP, DPVR, Pico Interactive, Cybershoes, and VR Wave. He has also conducted demos close to more than 2,000 individuals living in Singapore and China. So without further ado, let's bring our dear friends into our podcast studio. How are you, my friend?
One of the foundational aspects is the Android operating system around the touch interfaces. Jim Knott was a lead designer at Samsung on Samsung TVs, and they brought
Thank you for showing love for the music selection. Yeah, it's uplifting and perhaps a good fit for this Metaverse team event. So it's always a great honor to have a new guest coming on to grace this event. So maybe let's start with your story. I think this is my favorite question for every guest who come on. We would love to hear how you got started and how the journey has been so far.
Even more important, we ourselves, just looking at ourselves, have seen tremendous interest in growth. 130x user growth. We've seen over 10 million minutes in spatial.
And whilst I was there,
but then also,
I dabbled into VR on the side.
A lot of different kinds of usage for this augmented virtual reality technology beyond that initial kind of productivity use case. People like artists and creators wanted to create these shared spaces that they're designing themselves, either 3D spaces or bringing in their art
light enough, let's say,
virtual spaces to have
and also the
experiential setting for their work. So we're really kind of pushing forward into kind of what everyone's been calling the metaverse for a while. We sometimes kind of